We'll get right into it here, guys. Gonna give a quick shout out to the sponsor of these streams. As you know, Prime XBT been sponsoring these live streams for 2+ years now, which is crazy. So I really appreciate the constant support from the team, and I appreciate your guys' support using the exchange and depositing money there and actually trading, because that's the best way that you can give back to me if you want to do so, is to use the Prime XBT link in the description of this video. Input code MAIN50 before you deposit any money. You get up to a 7% deposit bonus. I still have a couple 20% deposit bonus codes if you're interested in that. More than happy to share those with you guys. All you gotta do is shoot me a DM and I'll sauce one over to you. Okay, so shout out to the Prime XBT team. Let's get into the video. So as you guys know, we crushed this last trade here. Too bad I didn't short the mid-range here, but we crushed 2 separate longs here, which was awesome. If you've been following along in Discord, if you've been following along in Telegram, on YouTube, we took this first long and then we took a second long in here, and then our TP was the mid-range here. So both of those crushed. Really strong way to close off the month of August. So very happy with how that played out. Yeah, the TP could not have been better. There was definitely some short opportunities up here, but after those 2 big winners, I was out of town. What we're looking at now is you know, where's price going from here? And so I am in a short right now. It's a little bit of a tricky spot. So if you get rid of some of that noise there and you look at the chart on the weekly, okay, we still have this weekly SFP here, and that was part of the premise for my long, right? Was this weekly SFP, and then we had the 12-hour breaker, right here. MSB gave you the long, bang, right? So that all played out, right, nicely on this move. But what I don't like, right, like for the bullish argument, it was very simple. We had the weekly SFP into the high time frame demand. We had the monthly SFP into high time frame demand. So all of that looks really good. And if we get above here, I think price can go way higher, because this becomes that weekly breaker of that monthly SFP. Now, the problem that I'm seeing, at least for the bulls, is we had this kind of, you know, some people are saying this is the grayscale candle, but basically we don't have any news on the ETF. They delayed the decision. We don't know if it's going to get approved or not, blah, blah, blah. But the bottom line is this seems to have been a news-driven candle, according to some of y'all. I don't pay attention to the news. When I say that, it doesn't mean I don't consider it. I don't look at it as something. It's not something that I am actively monitoring and using to base my trading decisions around. I do not care. I am one of the people who believe that everything that you need is in the chart itself. But bottom line is this. We had this candle here, pump, everyone got super excited. What was I doing? I was taking profit here. What was a bunch of other people doing? Longing. I got so many messages from people that they were longing here. What do we like to do within the range? It's just June's range, but it could be any range, right? Long near the lows, target the mid-range. Then if it reclaims here, then we target higher. I gave you the plan. I said from here to here. And if we're above here, then we can start looking to here. But we didn't get above there, did we? So a bunch of people who saw this candle happen start FOMOing into longs here. Well, now they're fucked, right? So you don't want to chase price, right? If you don't have a plan and then price gets up here and you have no plan, you have no idea where we are in price, I wouldn't be surprised if you felt FOMO and want to pile in longs because everyone else is long and it looks like it's going up, only for 2 or 3 days later, it fully retraced the move. So when you have a plan, it eliminates that FOMO, right? It eliminates that FOMO. We had a plan, and our plan was to take profit here and then see what happens, right? So this move fully retraced, which is not ideal. So what I'm looking at right now, when I look at this, it's a little tricky. To me, the monthly here and the weekly here still have a bullish argument to be made in that we tested demand and we put in an SFP, but they have a lot of work to do to actually play out. We can trade lower into here before going up, or we can trade up here and then reject again. Like a lot can happen on these high time frames, and you want to get those trades in between, and finding your entry is going to generally be on the lower time frame, because if you just entered on the weekly right here, your stop is way the fuck down here. That's a long time to possibly in drawdown before it maybe turns around. So what we want to see happen if we're a bull, in my opinion, is very simple. There's a couple key levels that need to be reclaimed here. First of all, if I'm a bull, I want to see us trading back above this here. So you have this like kind of 12-hour breaker. We need to get above here if you're a bull. We can get above here, then I think you can justify longs up into the mid-range. But again, I would be looking to take profit into the mid-range and slightly higher because we can still make another lower high here and then a lower low. Anything can happen. It's not guaranteed that if we go up here, we're going to the range high. But we definitely need, as a bull, a move above here. That would be scenario 1 for me to get bullish. And I'm short right now. Scenario 2 for me to get bullish would be an actual sell-off and then some sort of run below this low or this low or this low. So a run on liquidity. Ideally, I'd love to see this low get run and then a reclaim of June's range. That absolutely would be enough to get me into longs, looking for the mid-range and then potentially higher. Those are the only two kind of inter-day, not quite swing trades, but day trades that I see on the long side. A reclaim of this 12-hour breaker or a sweep of the lows and then a reclaim of June's low. So all these trades we've taken, the shorts up here, the longs here, all still based on June's range. We're in September now, right? So you can use ranges on any sort of candle. You can use a single day's candle. You can use a weekly candle. You can use a monthly candle. You can use an hourly candle, and you can take trades based on that information. You can go here on the hourly. You can literally say, okay, here's my hourly candle right here. And then you can actually, so this is when that candle was created. Traded above, back inside, retest. Where do you target? Mid-range, range low. It's trading below the range low, below, way below for a while. Then look what happens. Back inside the range, trades up to the mid-range, trades into the upper portion of the range, shows a rejection, then it fades out of it. This range can be valid for days and days and days in the future. And just like June's range, we're using June's range here in September, but it's still giving us information. Fade at the high, run at the low, cap at the mid-range. So you're going to be able to use these time frames or these ranges on any candles you want. You can use them on the monthly, the daily, the weekly, Monday's range. It's just the range of Monday's candle. So we need to see one of those two scenarios happen, in my opinion, short term, to get bullish again. I would then be targeting, like I said, up into here. And then if we get above here, then I would look up into the range high. So if we get something like this, target 1, see what happens here, target 2. If we flip back above this, so there's no sweep of the low, but we get back above here, then by all means, get long and target into there. But for now, we're not showing a lot of strength down here. I don't like the full retrace of the move, okay? So we don't have a weekly SFP here, but we took out last week's high, right? Or this is 2 weeks ago now, but because it's now Tuesday, but we took out the previous week's high, closed below. Then if you go down to the 3-day chart, it's actually a 3-day bearish SFP. So what did I do? I went down to the 12-hour, okay? And now is when I'll get my old levels back here. 3-day bearish SFP here. Go down to the 12-hour. Here's that breaker I was talking about. Very simply, if the bulls are able to get back above this breaker, the short idea is wrong. So what do you want to see in here now? Well, within this 12-hour bearish breaker, we had a 12-hour bearish SFP. Then what are you looking for? Well, next I'm looking for a 12-hour market structure shift, right? So you have a swing low here. There's a bearish market structure shift on the 12-hour. Okay, so we got all the things that we wanted for a trigger. Going down to the hourly, I gave you guys exactly what I was looking for here, right? So within the 12-hour SFP, which is denoted here, I marked out the breaker. There's your move up. I said we need a move below, making the MSB, retest, sell off. And that's what you have here. There's your breaker right here. Took out the high. This is your 12-hour SFP. It also happened to be an hourly SFP as well, which is added confluence. There's your market structure break. So I'm selling that pullback. I'm selling that retest here. And my target is into June's low. The liquidity run, which I'm looking for to potentially get bullish, that's the target on the short. So I'm in this short right now, and it's exactly as I had laid it out for you. There's no funny business, nothing tricky, I'm not doing something behind the scenes. Exactly as I explained it to you here is exactly how I took it. My entry is literally right here at 83, 783. As soon as it retested it, I entered. So I entered on this candle because the high is the low here. And then in drawdown a bit, went up. I like that we put another sweep in here, but now I want to see, so for confidence that this is going to continue to roll over, I now want to see us trade below here. I want this low to now get taken. And that will give me confidence that this thing's going to continue to trade in the direction I want. What I don't want to see is lows get taken and then the highs that generated those lows get taken out, because that's, to me, me a sign that potentially we're seeing reaccumulation and I'm on the wrong side of this. So I don't love the H12 here. You know, this kind of looks a little bit like it's trying to form a swing low here, right? You have your low, lower low, higher low. So that's slightly concerning, but I'm going to let the trade run and I'm going to see how it plays out here over the coming days. And if I'm right, we should break this low here and then we should sell off aggressively. That's what I want to see now. I want to see displacement to the downside. So when the trade is good, right, you want to see displacement. So like when we had here, see how we have displacement on the short. So when we came above the high, when we sold off, we created fair value gaps. That's called displacement. That's an ICT term. He calls it displacement. That means that effectively it means the trend is strong. So I want to see price leave fair value gaps in the direction of my trade to give me an idea that there is strength behind the move, that the big money is behind the move, and that the stop run, right, has already happened. So my stop should be safe here, assuming if we can get some displacement below these lows. So that's going to be the next level of confluence that I'm looking for here to be confident in this short, is a breakdown after this run, or we could run a little higher, but there's my stop. My entry is explained, and now I want to see continuation to the downside. So this is what I want to see, and this is what we're looking for. So I'm in this short. I laid it all out for you guys on a silver platter. Whether or not you take it is up to you. I'm giving you the pieces of the puzzle, and you know, it's for you to start fooling around with them, starting to put them together and things like that. But very simple, right? Now, if I get stopped out, look where my stop is. My stop is right where that 12-hour breaker is, and exactly where, hey, I said if we get above here, I want to be looking for longs anyway, because if we're able to reclaim this breaker, I think we fill in this at the very least, and then I think there's a good chance we trade up into that mid-range. If we're going to go down, I think we should go down with this being the high. I don't think we should get back above here, which means that's where my stop should go. Where is my idea of price trading lower wrong? Here. So as long as we're below there, I can stick in this trade. If we get above there, I'm wrong. Okay, I'm flipping my bias. I'm looking for longs. It's that simple how I trade. If this, then that. I'm not trying to overcomplicate it. I'm not trying to confuse you with indicators or terminology or a 1,000 different scenarios. There's always going to be a few scenarios. For the up or down people who are like, oh, up or down, bro, like shut the fuck up. They don't know what they're talking about. Trading is a game of if this happens, then I do that. If this happens, then I do this, right? So if this, then that. So you do have to have scenarios, but the scenarios need to be clear. You need to know why you're doing what you're doing, right? If you just say, hey, if we do this, I'm going to long. Like if you have a level and you say, well, if it does this, I'm going to do this. And if it does this, I'm going to do this. And if it does this, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do, like, there's a point where, yeah, it's like they're trying to map out every fucking possible scenario so they can't be wrong. But my scenarios are very clear. I'm already in the short. So the scenarios to get long are if we reclaim this, I'll get out of my short and I'll look for long. Or if we sell off and then reclaim here, I'll get into a long. So it's not up or down, up or down. It's very clear, defined scenarios, levels and areas of interest and exact things in price that I'm looking for to execute on them. So Ethereum, very similar from the high time frame. Weekly breaker, weekly SFP. Here's June's range. Right now, Ethereum just has been weaker than Bitcoin. Now, Ethereum BTC is in a place where I think it should put in a higher low. So if Ethereum BTC is finally able to trade higher from here and push up, then perhaps we'll have a period where Bitcoin is being outperformed by Ethereum. But for a while now, Bitcoin's been crushing. So Ethereum USD, I didn't like the setup on the short or on the long as much as I did on Bitcoin. So I traded Bitcoin. But looking at this on the 12-hour chart, right, we're into that weekly OB. We have this, we had an SFP. We broke the range to the upside, but we now came down, broke that. So all that's cooked, right? So the difference here, right, we do have the same 3-day setup here on Ethereum that we do on Bitcoin right here. It's the exact same setup. Here's your breaker right there. And do we have the H12 SFP on the upside? Yes, we do. Do we have the H1 market structure break? Yes, we do right there. So it's basically the exact same trade. Just like on Bitcoin, I think it's very simple. If we're going to trade up to the mid-range here, I think we need to get above here. Very simply, if we get above here, then I'd be interested in longs towards the mid-range. That's simple. Not looking for anything crazy. Now, similar to Bitcoin, I'm short Bitcoin right now. What I don't like, and Ethereum is doing the same thing, for the shorts at least, is it looks like it's rounding off here a little bit, and it looks like we're trying to put in a swing low, right? So we have a H12 SFP right here. We have a low, a lower low, and we're in the process of putting in a higher low with a big middle lower wick. So it is looking like it's trying to round off and sell off and bounce. So I'm keeping that in mind. And that's the same on Bitcoin, right? Is the 12-hour does look a little bit like it's trying to round off here. We have a big 3-candle swing in the process here, big long wick down there. So I see that. I'm not ignoring that, but I'm gonna ride the short and I'm gonna stick with my buys until we get above here, because this is just such an easy bias level. On both Bitcoin and Ethereum, if we're able to reclaim the 12-hour breaker, I'm flipping long and I'm targeting the mid-range on each of them. So that would be 28K on Bitcoin, and that would be 1785 here on Ethereum if we flip those 12-hour breakers. Now, if at that same time that we flip the 12-hour breaker, Ethereum BTC looks strong, I might choose to long Ethereum over Bitcoin because it might be the stronger of the two. Basically the exact same setup here. It's been weaker, starting to look like maybe it wants to start going up here. Maybe this is where it should go up. If it's going to, it should hold this consolidation and trade higher. And if that's the case and this thing's going to go up, flip this 12-hour breaker, then by all means, I'll pile into a long. So if it can get above here, then I'll target into there. And same thing for Bitcoin. If it can get above here, then I'll target into there. Simple as that. Let's look at the dollar here. So the dollar, again, I've dialed this in better than any fucking buddy on Twitter right now, and it's not even close. Everyone was giga bear on the dollar down here, and I told you I think this trades all the way back up to 105 and 106, and today we just came shy of 105. So I got bullish down here on the dollar, which was in line with getting bearish on Bitcoin near the highs, and perfectly executed here. We played multiple ideas within here as well, this bounce, and ultimately the most recent one, right, was this. We have this weekly breaker here, up candle for the down move that took out the low. Within the weekly breaker, we had a 12-hour SFP. This was when I did my last video, and I just said, hey, this is going right back up, and this is taking out this high, and that's exactly what happened here. So we've taken out a key weekly high now, so it will be interesting to see where this weekly candle closes, but last week's candle looks very bullish. I don't see why this can't trade up into here now. Whether it does a little dip first, I don't know, but we literally have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're working on our 8th green weekly candle in a row. That's atypical. That's not going to last forever. We are going to see a correction here, and that correction could come back down to here. But ultimately, looking at how this chart looks, I still think that this can trade to 105 and 106, no problem, possibly much higher. But for now, very happy with the analysis and how it's been laid out and how it's been played out, and it lined up very well with some of the other trades I took. So getting bullish on the dollar down here, this is exactly when Bitcoin basically topped out here, right? So Bitcoin topped out on the 13th of June or July. 13th of July is exactly when the dollar bottomed. That lined up very well. The dollar being very strong is also lining up with the S&P 500 here. So we have a weekly bearish order block that we're in right now. Zoom into the 12-hour. We have a 12-hour sweep, and we have a 12-hour market structure shift right now on this candle close. So to me, bounces up here going into this week, I think are shorts with your stop above here, right? So stop above that wick, and I think bounces up into here are potentially shorts for a move lower is what I'm looking at, and then continue strength on the dollar ideally. And that same strength on the dollar analysis is what gave me the short idea here. So I didn't unfortunately pull the trigger on this one, is the trade setup as I wanted to get involved happened in the middle of the night. Had our bearish range on the weekly, high to a low, came up into the bearish order block, and I drew this out with a down arrow. And what are the comments? Oh, the box is too big, blah, blah, blah. Idiots. If you follow me, you know what I'm looking for. The gray box is simply the area in which I'm looking for a lower time frame setup to form. We came up into the gray box, zoomed in. What do we have on the H12? SFP. Okay, great. Zoom in again. Where's our breaker? Right here. There's our hourly MSB. This pullback is your short with your stop there. That's 2R. You also got a 1 hour setup within the other breaker right here, which could have been its own entry and its own trade. Sweep, market structure break. Here's your breaker. There's your retest. 2 setups formed here. But again, this would have been the setup I probably would have taken. Is I would have had a limit order probably here, or I would have marketed in here, stop above there. So I still think that this trades lower. I think we go down, and I think we very likely clear out this consolidation down here. But we definitely can bounce from here based on the H12. Now we've had our H12 MSB here. We could see a move up here and then further down. So I'm still bearish on gold, and I think any sort of bounces, I'm looking to short. But this looks like the giant market maker model to me, and that's kind of what I'm aiming for, right? Box, here's your original consolidation, eventually end up below there. So really happy with the analysis playing out, but I didn't unfortunately pull trigger on the short myself. But again, confluent with what? The dollar finding strength. When I drew this original dollar chart out, this is the end of August here, right? We had the big sweep, 30th of August going into the 1st of September. I thought it was bullish. Here's the 30th of August going into the 1st of September on gold, right into resistance. So that's the confluence, right? It's not always about the dollar, meaning gold down, or Bitcoin, or any of them down. Yes, in essence, this is how it works. But the way that you're going to nail trades using the confluence here is if dollar is bullish, you want to see the dollar be at support. So you want to see a bullish dollar at support, and you want to see a bearish dollar at resistance. That's when the correlation between the two assets is going to yield the best results for you. Is bullish dollar at support, gold at resistance. Bearish dollar at resistance, bullish gold at support. And then we're gonna fucking rip it here, boys. Oh boy. Do you agree that if one masters the bear, the bull market is going to be easy? No, I don't agree at all, because I can't seem to fix this one. Take a video of the issue. I'm like, how the fuck am I supposed to do that? What's up? Fuck you, Jaden. I think I forgot, Jaden. You think I forgot what you did to me? You superimposed my face over Ed's face. The quality of all my stuff is trash as well. I literally buy it off of fucking Instagram ads. I don't know any of that, and I don't really care. Jules says can't fake on-chain trading. Well, what if you have 2 separate wallets, and on one wallet you long, and on one wallet you short, then you just post about the one that worked out?
Gotcha.
Yeah, he's a LARP, he's a scammer. So highly unlikely, it's unbelievable. Unbelievably fucking stupid. But because I'm Canadian, they're like, oh, fuck you, and kill me. Yeah, who needs gun violence in Australia when a snake or a spider can kill you? I think you're crazy. Come to Istanbul, I think I will. Come get a hair transplant while I'm at it. You're not gonna be able to look up porn anymore. Please, YouTube, don't take me down for speaking facts.